Hello, something guys and gals. This is Something Guy 912. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. A line most notably said in The Dark Knight, ironically by someone who became the thing he most reviled through what he went through. A lesson that many understand but few actually learn to heed, and such is the case with Ian Jomha, or Idubbbz, whom through either his own relationship with his wife Anisa or by his desire to helm the influencer boxing culture, has slowly and surely stripped away everything that people respected him for. And it's come to its breaking point by way of the Froggy Fresh drama in which Ian decides to part his own 2 cents on the matter, post hoc rationalizing his own decisions in the matter. To catch everyone up to speed who aren't familiar, Froggy Fresh was planned to be a card to fight Chris Ray Gun in Idubbbz's second year of Creator Clash, his little boxing entourage. The only issue with this was whom Froggy Fresh decided to be trained by in the lead up to his event. Sam Hyde, a person who ever since embarrassed Idubbbz's attempt to upstage him, has become his own Voldemort and actively disassociating with him. Through that, comboed with Anisa's own mother throwing spades at Froggy just weeks before the event, decided to pull him from the fight unceremoniously, sight unseen. Of course, Froggy was quite upset that Ian would let his backbiting at Anisa's mother and his own jokes at the expense of Anisa's OnlyFans career come at the expense of the charity that he pledged for the event as well as the clash itself, but, of course, instead of making it clear to Froggy why he was pulled, plenty of Ian's defenders in Creator Clash tried to run horrible interference in his defense, which comes all the more hilarious that Ian makes it very clear in this video that he is that petty and that he let good money go to waste for his own bruised ego. And boy, is this video riddled with some of the most retroactive reasoning for pulling Froggy Fresh, using videos of his and Sam Hyde's thoughts on the event after Froggy got pulled from the card. Moral grandstanding coming from the likes that made his platform off of embarrassing Tana Mongo by saying, "Say nigger," and I shit you not, him pleading for Sam Hyde to stop harassing him online. Because apparently making quips and jokes at his expense is on the level of online harassment. But we'll get through that all in good time as we delve into what having mid-pussy does to a motherfucker.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Brief update, I am healed from Creator Clash 2. It was a success. Alex Wasabi beat me up. He won his fight fair and square, and I have all the respect for Alex. He's a good competitor.
Yeah, those physical wounds healed, but those mental and internal ones will always stay.
And I have respect for all the other fighters on the Creator Clash card.
Apparently not for Chris Ray Gun, given his replacement for Froggy Fresh was a dude a whole head above him.
Having said all that, you guys are here for the juice and the grease. So I'm going to give you guys the grease and the juice. And that all has to do with Froggy Fresh. The reason I didn't address any of this sooner is because I was terrified of jeopardizing the success of the event because there are a lot more people involved in this than just Anisa and I.
So something that Ian does, and will do throughout this video, is to try to frame his reasons for kicking Froggy off the card post hoc by posting various clips of him talking shit about Creator Clash after he got kicked on the card. Before Ian even appears in the video, he brings up a clip from March 28th, 2 days after Froggy got booted from the Clash. And there are plenty of other examples like that, but I have to ask Ian, if you didn't want to cover this because you thought it would jeopardize the event, then why do you think other people whom are a part of the event need to fight your fucking battles for you, or come up with their own reasons why you pulled him? Wouldn't that, in a way, jeopardize your event because there's clearly a lack of communication between the fighters and the hosts and what they're allowed to do or say? It's going to be very clear your only intention to cover this now is to rewrite history.
These are people that I really care about, and I felt like it would be very selfish if I was like, I understand public perception right now, guys. I'm just gonna make a quick 10-minute video and I'll squash all the rumors, I'll squash all the beef.
So, being outright clear that your reasons have everything to do with Sam Hyde is somehow worse than leaving people to their own imaginations, And is it not selfish to kick someone because of your personal sensibilities? Although, of course, you're going to claim that everyone else involved in the event happened to agree, while rejecting donation money because it came from an associate of the Candyman.
I have no idea what public perception for this video is going to be. That's why I'm doing it now, right? The event is now over with. I can risk it, you know? I can air my grievances and we can see where it goes.
Well, I can tell you that the public perception of this video isn't particularly good, while you made all the interference Harley and others tried to making your defense pathetic. And is it me, or is Ian tacitly stating here that he didn't want to come out with a public statement earlier because he knew people wouldn't attend Creator Clash once they realized the person helming it is an early pussy-whipped bitch about Sam Hyde? But remember guys, he cares about the integrity of the event. He's a professional, after all.
I need to bring you guys up to speed on where I'm at as a person and as a content creator. My philosophy for a while was, well, people will figure it out through the videos I make. But the problem is the videos I make, I sort of avoid speaking from the heart. I'm just gonna focus on a thing, on a piece of content. I think I have bad associations with sharing my life.
You can definitely say that again, especially if you didn't want to give people the impression that you've been Yoko Ono'd.
On the internet. I'm like, no, that shouldn't be my thing. Like, leave that up to the vloggers. But I think it's important to share where I'm at, so none of what I'm talking about in this Froggy Fresh video feels like I'm being hypocritical or, I'm misleading you in any way.
As Ian tries to rationalize post hoc his reasons and actively contradicts his prior stance of a few years ago about being okay with people making fun of him and his wife. Sorry if I'm doubtful of your sincerity.
I think a lot of the content I've made has been irresponsible and misguided. And I think I've hurt a lot of people with the content I've made. Despite many people being entertained by it, I'm not trying to take that away from you.
But I am going to publicly shame people who enjoyed my past content and don't like my current content. If Ian thinks this is his growing up phase, there's a difference between wanting to make different content but still respect the people who got you there, and actively demonizing the people who gave you the opportunity to cuck yourself on your beliefs and principles. If I had a nickel for every fucking time some content creator decided to bend the knee to chase the dollar while still trying to wax political about how they're always the same, well, that money could have been used to buy Anisa's OnlyFans. Oh, damn. Was that too harsh, Ian? I'm sorry. I'll remind myself that the dude who used to call people nigger faggot is going to browbeat me about what I'm allowed to say or do.
If you feel like you've learned important lessons or you have grown as a person because of the content I've made, I don't want to take that away from you.
You know the one thing that I've taken to heart from your past vids, especially when in regards to the nature of selective censorship? Either it's all okay, or none of it is okay. An important lesson that while you say you don't want to take that from the likes of me, will certainly decide to take that away from yourself when expedient, which is a fucking crying shame. Because that very mentality is why this flogging yourself at the mass is so pathetic.
With some good can come a lot of bad. And I think I've done a lot of bad, and at the bare minimum, I've just put a lot of negativity out there in the world, and I'm working on not doing that.
Hey Ian, blink twice if you're being forced at gunpoint to say that. What does it mean to work on it when this is the kind of content you're making now? Actively gaslighting people who remember the events as they happened and getting all up in a tizzy because of someone else's association with a man you don't like? 2015 Ian wouldn't bother himself with this shit because it would make him look worse if he did anything at all.
I plan on expanding on all of this in a further video. I think there's a lot of content from over the years and some behind the scenes that I'd love to share with you guys. I think it would give clarity to where I'm at. But in this video, that's probably about all I can say on any of it. I don't want to detract from what the focus is.
I know this is a complete aside, but why does it look like Ian is filming this in a history class in elementary school? The whiteboard, the map of the world, what looks like a light fixture for a teacher's desk. Am I being educated here? But seeing as Ian only has that much to say about his content moving forward, I suppose I do need to educate myself on what that entails.
And the focus is kicking Froggy Fresh from the Creator Clash card. The main reason Froggy was kicked from the card was for collaborating with Sam Hyde.
Oh, Do you hear that, Harley and Alana Pierce? It had nothing to do with some bullshit non-disclosure agreement that Froggy violated. It had nothing to do with him making a joke at Anisa's expense. It's because Ian is a fucking bitch! Isn't that great to hear from your event hoster that he can't get Sam Hyde out his fucking mouth?
And, for anyone who's been following the story, that's, fairly obvious.
Well, apparently that wasn't fairly obvious according to Twitter, which, if it was so fucking obvious, why are you then so gun-shy about making a public statement to clear the beef? Is it because, again, you knew deep down your own pettiness would make the event look bad and not Froggy being a part of said event?
Froggy has explained, his side of the story multiple times. And unfortunately, he's been perpetuating a narrative that it's about OnlyFans or that it's about Anisa's mom.
Now, Ian, why would you think Froggy would come to that conclusion when he got kicked from the card literally hours after his spates with Anisa's mom? And do you think that maybe, just maybe, if you came out with a public statement that it was because of his association with Sam Hyde, that Froggy wouldn't assume otherwise?
And that's extremely deceptive because he knows why he was kicked from the card. The one indication I gave him was Sam Hyde, and I wasn't unclear about that. Anyone who's mentioning the fact that Harley trained with Sam Hyde for the year previous, that was before Sam was saying this about my wife.
Before Ian decides to get offended over edgy jokes again, how does this somehow make your logic cogent? Shouldn't Harley also been kicked from the event simply because he associates, or had associated, with someone who made fun of your wife? Or even PewDiePie for that matter, but with Froggy that's apparently crossing a line, and I think I'm glossing over the more important matter of, Froggy isn't, nor shouldn't be responsible for what other people say! But that's besides the point.
I don't think so, Anisa. Bitch. Ho.
Fucking Anisa. What an ugly piece of shit. But look how beat she is. Oh, nice jack-o'-lantern teeth.
That's like
I can't wait to see what she looks like when she's 32. Her teeth look like a pumpkin head. Like it's the Anisa Jomha hole stretcher. I'm sending this to Anisa's OnlyFans. It goes directly into charity.
Yeah.
Everybody hates him and his wife's a slut.
First off, based, and second off, yeah, and? Like, I'm trying to imagine being in Froggy's shoes here watching this and wondering, what does that have to do with me? What did I do wrong? And Ian saying, but Sam Hyde lives in my brain rent-free.
So yeah, now that this guy is on the daily insulting my wife, I think it's pretty fair to, not want to associate with him in any way.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with Froggy? He didn't insult his wife, probably because he didn't make a spectacle of praising her having an OnlyFans, much less even have one.
We did ban Sam from the first event, so it's not as if he's confused about where he stands in all this.
Ian, I would be confused if, apropos of nothing but being in the same room as Sam Hyde, you kicked me from an event, because that's your problem, not mine. And let's not gloss over that the only reason you kicked Sam from the first event is because he made you a fool and you're getting away with it expose on him.
I don't like him. And Froggy knows that. Froggy knows that I don't like him. Of course. That's why he was banned.
Again, just imagine him saying any of this, but instead of Froggy, it was Harley, and you'd be very curious as to why Froggy needs to be punished for what someone else said. And given that Froggy has been very keen to provide receipts, unlike you, I suspect that he wasn't elucidated on that being the reason.
None of this is like news to Froggy. Froggy knew all of this going into it.
Yeah, he knew. 5 months going into it, but only until weeks before the event that it was a problem, apparently. Like, am I supposed to believe you, Ian, that you were okay with him training with Sam Hyde for months, and only when it was getting close to prime time was when enough was enough?
For anyone who's under the impression that Froggy has been reasonable and chill and respectful through this whole process, he hasn't been. He's been a piece of shit.
Once we see the clips in which you demonstrate that, it's going to be made very clear that you didn't have a good reason beyond his association with Hyde, which is funny that you're still trying to act like you have any ounce of dignity in your postulating about the puppet master, so no, I don't believe that Froggy was acting like a piece of shit until he was kicked for no good reason.
I'm not happy with how he's behaved. He's talked mad shit about me.
Ian doesn't want people who are bigger and more talented than him upstaging him. That's what it is.
Anisa.
Ian's masculinity had been completely removed via Anisa.
Oh wow, that is bad. If only that reason didn't have anything to do with him being kicked from Creator Clash, And specifically, this interview with Brandon Buckingham was made 9 days after the event happened. Almost a whole month after he got kicked from the event. So what? Froggy is a time traveler now that he can impart wisdom on something from the future before it's even happened now? Or is this deceptive editing?
Participants of the event.
This is really a lot of weird, tender, soft people. Creator Clash people are real, like, these type of people. You know what I mean?
The event itself.
This is really like the patty cake league for like social media boxing. You know?
He doesn't like the culture of Creator Clash, and he mentioned that.
And Chris Ray Gun and all these people, it's like some big ethos worshiping party at these things. And I don't get it. I don't get what all this shit is all about. Like, everybody's there to worship ethos or fucking ethos or like touching ethos titty or pussy.
I couldn't find specifically where this clip came from, but I imagine given that Froggy is speaking ill of Creator Clash, he's likely saying this after he got kicked, so I don't think you can use this as your reason for kicking him. Here to interrupt your regularly scheduled response video is me, from the future, to give context as to the recording in question. I was asking around on Twitter, specifically Donovan, since he has a cameo instead of recording, if I could find when and where this clip was from, to which Josh Boblacks had a screenshot of a recording being posted on April 26, even farther from the Brandon Buckingham interview. But it gets even better, because then Donovan also added that the podcast in which he and Froggy took part in was an exclusive stream in which you had to pay money to watch. So either Ian, or some associate of his, went this far out of their way to find something Froggy said after he got kicked to justify kicking him prior to him saying any of this. Which is all the more hilarious that Ian would claim that Sam Hyde has a vendetta out for Ian when Ian does this kind of shit to justify himself. Anyhow, I do bring up my confusion about this clip later as Ian brings it up again, but now you know that most, if not all, of these clips happened after Froggy got kicked.
To be honest, I thought it was quite the gift to you that we'd kick you off the card. You have no more obligations, and you can immediately just pivot into boxing for misfits.
This is on par with saying, oh, you got kicked off of YouTube for no good reason? Why don't you make your own platform? Whether or not he has avenues doesn't detract that your reasons for doing so were petty, and equally as such that you try to use him talking ill of the event after he got kicked from it as your justification to do so. And don't worry, Ian, we're going to talk about those obligations he apparently had to the event soon enough.
It's like, that's the culture that you want. You want the non-sissy, you want the macho dude traditional boxing culture, so go over there and box for them.
And as an added aside, Ian, you're expecting a guy who spent months on end expecting to box for a particular event against a particular dude just to suddenly shift gears to a different event out of pocket? Like, let's not pretend that you kicked him months in advance. You barely even gave him 3 weeks before the event was going live. And yes, I think Froggy would appreciate going to an event that won't kick members simply because the host has some other dude taking up headspace that to merely mention his name, much less associate with them, will put you in a hysterical malaise.
You don't even have to miss that many months of training. You've been training.
Yeah, training for Creator Clash against Chris Reagan, not Misfits for some other card. How is this hard to understand?
So hop on one of those cards. But unfortunately, Froggy doesn't want to hop on one of those cards because he thinks the skill level is too high.
Personally, in my opinion, I think the talent at Misfits and Happy Punch is in a different league that is out of my league.
Footwork is amazing.
Out the sand lot and I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that karma steady growing.
And then right here, he's down. You stop. I mean, come on. It turns quickly from boxing to assault.
So this is an odd segment of Ian's where he decides to throw shade at Misfits to somehow disprove Froggy's claims while using the comparison of Boogie 2298 and Wings of Redemption, two utter fat fucks, as proof of that? I mean, in the other examples, it's very clear those boxers are pretty bad, but I mean, Ian, you can't really claim the talent you had, much less the matchups are somehow any fucking better.
Just fight someone who's weaker than you.
Wow, what a fucking response. Yeah, I'm sure when Chris Reagan was told that weeks before the event that instead of fighting someone his weight and height, that he'd be fighting someone a whole head above him, that you told him, skill issue too, right?
So I'm done with boxing. I can fulfill my current obligations. If for some reason Creator Class changed their mind, I could fulfill my current obligations. I'm not interested in going further in any other boxing.
Now, isn't that the pinnacle of laziness when you can't refute someone's arguments and instead just superimpose a fucking clown emoji? His word's bad because clown face, I win.
It's such a fucking cop-out that you're like, all right, I'm such a victim for getting kicked off the Creator Clash event when I knew what would get me kicked off the Creator Clash event, and now you're like, I don't want to box anymore. It's like, come on.
I mean, if the treatment he's gained from influencer boxing the likes of you will be that he's gaslit retroactively as to why he got kicked and threatened legal action for presumably stealing money from a charity that you weren't willing to take money for because Sam Hyde bad, yeah, I'd also be quite disenchanted from the thing. But we've already established that it's clear he wasn't told that was the reason, and more importantly, you chose to keep quiet as to the reason only until now, where you can warp the discussion into him being purposefully obtuse your reasons.
If you look at my text exchange with Froggy,
apparently Ian doesn't know the concept of pausing if he thought these text exchanges would make him look good. Just look at these for a long while and Ian just can't get Sam Hyde out of his fucking brain and trying to guilt trip Froggy for the things he's said about him. Shit, even in the exchanges, Froggy makes it very clear that Sam won't be at the event to Ian's wishes. But of course, Ian thinks he will be, or that even being around Sam Hyde is just as bad. And completely dodging the question as to whether Ian would even have Froggy at the event, almost as a way for Froggy to waste his time on the pretense he was participating for Ian to pull the rug out from under him. Not professional, coming from the likes of Creator Clash, now is it?
It's very clear that I didn't want to kick him from the card.
By not answering whether you'd kick him from the card for associating with Sam Hyde so he wouldn't waste his time training in the first place. Gotcha. Also, look at that last image. What kind of Karen-ass shit do you have to pull that you're also going to expect Froggy to regulate the content he makes with Sam Hyde just so your event doesn't once again get overshadowed by Sam Hyde in some capacity by bullying him into complicity?
I got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't want you working or training with Sam Hyde, but you're doing that, so all right, I'll look past it.
Remember, minutes prior, Ian said he kicked Froggy because of his association with Sam Hyde. Barring any other association that other people have made with him, like Harley, is now going to try to argue that it wasn't his direct association with Sam Hyde that got him kicked from the card.
I don't want you making content with Sam Hyde, but it seems like that's a real deal breaker for you, so I guess I'll look past it.
It's not just a deal breaker, Ian. It's not even your fucking place to dictate to anyone what kind of content they'll make with whomever. Because by that logic, the sort of attempt of a documentary you did of Sam Hyde would make you just as ripe for criticism as you're trying to throw at Froggy.
It came to the point where I was like, can you postpone releasing content with Sam Hyde?
Froggy Fresh, if it wouldn't bother you, could you please not release or make any content with Sam Hyde? I know it's not my right to tell you how to make your content, nor do I have any legal binding in your contract that says you must, but I got a 6-foot pole up my ass about Sam Hyde, and I think you creatively quibbling yourself will really help. Thanks.
Look, you know me and Sam don't get along. You know, we put a lot of time and energy in this Creator Clash thing. I don't want it to be about Sam Hyde, so just don't let it hurt the event, all right? Go train with him, have fun, but don't let it hurt the event. Don't make it about Sam Hyde. That's what I would have said to you if I was Idubbbz.
Right, and guess what? Like, I didn't even plan on releasing none of the Sam Hyde content until after the event.
Oh, look, another clip that happened 3 days after Froggy got canned from Creator Clash. So, you tell me, Ian, you're going to use him saying, I wasn't going to plan to post any content until after the event as a gotcha, like as if you still believe you have any say on what content he can make, when all of this is him retaliating to you kicking him.
If you don't know who Sam Hyde is, whether or not you love him or hate him, you have to recognize him as, he's the most talented comedian alive. He's the most talented comedian of our generation. He's gonna probably be the greatest comedian of all time. He's he's a genius. I got a chance to go out there and train with him. He welcomed me into his environment. He paid people to train me.
Okay, Ian, you're confusing me. You said you would pass the stone on him training with Sam Hyde. You even said you would pass the stone on him making content with Sam Hyde. But all these screenshots seem to prove otherwise, that it is just an association. Unless you think Twitter retweets and likes are somehow posting content, which is quite a hell of a stretch if I say so myself.
I didn't even plan on releasing none of the Sam Hyde content until after the event.
Didn't you tell them that? I thought you
No,
told them
no,
that.
Ian requested it through text. He requested that I did that. What I didn't like that he requested that, because I don't think that's appropriate. I was like,
yeah, and I would be too if the only reason that I have to restrict myself this way is because Sam Hyde might as well be an ex-wife to Ian with how it stains on his tongue with every utterance of him.
He didn't think it was appropriate. I do not think that that is appropriate. Do you think it's appropriate that, I don't know, a 30-something-year-old man is publicly calling my wife a whore and a slut?
I think initially you can just buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this has got a separate Etsy page where she sells her pussy.
Yoko Ono was too concussed to fight in Creator Clash for the second year in a row.
Life is so easy for a certain gender. All you have to do is say that my uterus hurts. What'd she say this time? Her uterus hurts? Her uterus fell out?
Had another concussion.
Probably your uterus fell out from getting blown out so much by toys.
Oh, the whataboutism game. Gotta love that. Hey, Ian, do you know the fucking difference between demanding someone change or restrict their content and someone making a jab at your wife? Or, better yet, let's throw this logic around you. Do you think it was appropriate to drive all the way out to Tana Mongo's show just to embarrass her by saying, "Say nigger"? Do you think it's appropriate to constantly make fun of Leafy is Here's chin or lack thereof? Yeah, I know you say you regret the content you make, but it's just rich that the only reason you're in a position to grandstand about any of this is because of the prior misdeeds you've done.
Is that appropriate, Froggy? Do you think that's appropriate?
I don't think he does, but what does that have to do with Froggy? Did he say any of that shit after the event, not before it? Or is this yet another guilt by association?
I don't think that's appropriate.
Okay, you don't think it's appropriate that I set boundaries.
If setting boundaries is new to your content for my sensibilities or else, then boy, I don't think you've actually recovered from your wounds at said event.
I don't think it's appropriate that you are hanging out with a guy who doesn't think women are people.
Ian, you don't think women are people, because if you did, you'd stop Anisa from parading her body around at OnlyFans, a site that is purely dedicated to objectifying women for the sake of horny dudes and for an easy paycheck. Which is all the more ironic that you're also going to shame Sam Hyde and Froggy Fresh for not respecting sex workers, which comes at odds with your grandstanding on them respecting womans.
I was like, I don't think you should be telling me when I can't release content. Like, this is my career. It's what I do for a living.
But you complied with it, right?
But I was going to anyways, but I didn't like people telling me that. I thought that was out of line.
I don't know why he's saying that he was planning on waiting to post Sam Hyde content. We have the Twitter timeline of him nonstop posting Sam Hyde content.
So retweeting and liking posts on Twitter is the same as making Sam Hyde content. That makes even less sense for Froggy to postpone it if many of those are matters regarding his training and he wants to show that to the public, regardless if you're offended by Sam Hyde's appearance.
It's fucking weird. I don't know if he thought it was like a loophole to post on Twitter about Sam Hyde. So I think in his head he was like, I was gonna wait to post Sam Hyde content. Parentheses, YouTube video.
Ian, how the fuck does everyone else excluding you take away that when you say content, that it obviously means YouTube videos? Tweets, replies, and retweeting isn't content. That's just someone's personal timeline. And unless you're following Sam Hyde, which again, real ironic coming from someone who apparently wants nothing to do with him, or Froggy Fresh, you wouldn't have seen any of this. In fact, I imagine a lot of these screenshots you only knew of to frame a justification after kicking him, since you already made it clear that you didn't make it clear to Froggy that it was any association with Sam Hyde you took issue with, bar none.
Like, cause like it's not my problem that you have personal beef with the greatest comedian in the world. If I go to Providence,
how am I the simp? How am I the simp? I want to know.
You really want an answer for that? Defending your girlfriend having an OnlyFans, changing your last name to her last name, posting proudly your vasectomy cake, kicking Froggy Fresh because of him making fun of said girlfriend having an OnlyFans account, despite you saying earlier that you were content with people making fun of her for that. The list goes on, which, even if you can claim that what Froggy doing here is simp behavior for Sam Hyde, it pales way in comparison to the simpery you've conducted.
Is it because it's a woman? It's because it's a woman, isn't it?
I mean, hey, if you want to break everything down to the most basal of reasons, then it's very easy to assume anyone critical of you just hates men, right? Or, hey, better yet, you were willing to jeopardize your entire event because of a man, so how are you any better than they?
It's okay to simp for a big, gross dude. It's okay. It's understandable. He's big and he's gross. As soon as you simp for someone who's literally your partner, your life partner, that's too much. That's kind of gay.
Ian, there's a difference between defending what your partner is doing and going to extreme lengths to defend said partner from any criticism, including, but not limited to, hiding YouTube comments on your vid that make any mention of Sam Hyde, Yoko Ono, or the Candyman. It's funny too how you throw in a "that's gay" line sardonically while you unironically believe a man simping for another man is wrong. That's not very pro-LGBT of you, Mr. Grown Up.
If I go to Providence, Rhode Island and get an opportunity to work with him, that should be my option to when I release that content. And it's got nothing to do with you. Not everything that people do with Sam Hyde involves Idubbbz, and I think that he misinterprets that.
We're not talking about people. We're talking about what you do with Sam Hyde, because you're in my event.
How could Ian completely miss the point on this? The whole point is that what FF does with Sam Hyde has nothing to do with how the event functions. And if we are really going to pull this card, then why is Harley allowed to attend? Why is PewDiePie? Shit, why isn't any of the other people who've spoken ill of this decision, Lemon, Rusty Cage, Brandy Buckingham, allowed to attend?
I wish there were many layers of separation so I really could be that disconnected. Unfortunately, I have to be around you. You have to fight at my event. I have to share the same space as you know, in the parties, at the event itself, and I don't want to do that. I have no interest in sharing that space with you.
All because of what exactly? Because of Sam Hyde? Because again, that's your cross to bear, not Froggy's. And apparently you do apply your layers of separation with Harley or PewDiePie when convenient, so again, why Froggy specifically?
So for him to tell me, hey, could you wait until after the event to release that? In my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, I could, but it's weird for you to tell me to do that because it's got nothing to do with you.
Another thing that contributed to Froggy getting kicked was that he tweeted at Nathan Barnett, aka Dad. He said, "Dude, I tried hyping you up at Denny's when we ate dinner, and they said they weren't fucking with you and that you were going to lose to AB. They don't even like you." This is one of those things where it was like, oh, okay, so you basically don't have any good intentions here. You are just like, you don't like us.
I'm a bit out of the loop as to who Nathan Barnett is or who he even means to Ian, but if this is about Froggy facilitating drama between boxer for event or by the event hosters, then yeah, that seems rude. But I imagine a lot of people were out of the question as to this being the reason he was kicked from the event, which would have again helped had you made a statement sooner.
Like, I'm not here to play with people and give them warnings. Like, we're all adults on the card. I'm not going to give you a warning.
Yes, we're all adults here, Ian, which is why the real adult move is to have to stick up your ass about Sam Hyde so bad that anyone who looks in his general direction aren't worthy of your presence.
Actually, no, I will give you a warning if I think you have good intentions. The problem is when you tweet shit out like this and you have the text message exchange that Froggy had with me, I don't think you have good intentions. You're like trying to like ruin a relationship between me and one of my friends.
Since I don't have much to say about this, since I don't know the parties in question, but like with the video clips, it could very well be likely that Froggy also said this after the event happened.
Froggy deleted that tweet, and I don't think he deleted it because he felt differently. I think he deleted it because he knew that it could potentially get him kicked from the event and would also make him look like an asshole.
If he knew, then why was he still left in the dark a whole month after he was kicked from the event? Maybe he just felt bad about saying that, perhaps?
But he basically reiterated that same thing in a Twitter space.
When I was at fucking Denny's, I was all like telling them, yo, Dad's a fucking savage. And they're all like, no, Dad doesn't spar with high-level fucking competition. He's going to lose to AB. And I'm thinking, these motherfuckers are...
So who said that? Who said that?
Ian and Anisa, like that's the way these motherfuckers are. And then they got Dad like riding for them. They don't even, and if like I wouldn't be like this, but if everybody's gonna keep calling me out like I'm the fucking person that's fucking shit up, like that Dad's out here riding for them. They're all like, they don't even fucking give a fuck about him.
Again, I wish I had more to say, but I don't know much about Nathan Barnett, and I'm not sure the validity of what Froggy is claiming, so carrying on.
And in the same Twitter space where Froggy says this, Sam Hyde, Froggy's hero, calls Nathan a rapist like several times.
That Nathan Barnett guy, I guarantee you that guy would rape somebody if he had the opportunity.
Yeah, legally he would rape somebody in Minecraft, by the way.
In Minecraft.
Yes.
If he had the chance to rape a woman, he would.
In Minecraft.
No, not in Minecraft, Keem.
Nathan Barnett, I'm going to rape you! In Minecraft? No! In real life! Jokes aside, Ian, didn't you say that Sam Hyde doesn't respect women? Why would Sam Hyde care who Nathan Barnett rapes if he supposedly has no respect for women? I get that it's more of the obscene accusation, which, assuming that Sam Hyde is 100% sincere about everything he says, like what he said about Hassan Piker, is going to make you think Sam Hyde is unhinged.
I don't want anything to do with Sam. I don't want anything to do with people that think what Sam is doing is okay.
Yeah, we're well aware of that, which is why I still don't get what Froggy specifically did wrong other than presumably trying to drive a wedge between you and Nathan Barnett. And if it's about what other people think Sam is doing, where was that same energy with all the other people I just mentioned?
Here's part of the Twitter space where Harley is sort of questioning Tyler with why he wouldn't respond to Anisa. And I think that's a very valid question, because you ask any of our fighters and it's like, yeah, Anisa was the one who solves problems. She is more communicative than me, and she's better at communicating than I am. I fucking suck at this shit. So Anisa is the one. She is the one to talk to.
Oh, Anisa, she's so great. So wonderful and empowering, unlike I, whom still bothered to communicate with Froggy despite insisting that Anisa is so great at the negotiations that I shouldn't bother. I guess here's another reason why you're a fucking simp, Ian.
How was I even supposed to know Ian and Anisa were mad when I get one call from Justin Tracy, then a text message, I respond to it immediately, say, could you communicate through text or email? I'm training, and then nothing else. I still don't even know if Ian
What's the last text you sent to Anisa?
It was probably some group message from
okay, but what was the last
4
text
months
you
ago.
said to Anisa, just you two?
I don't have one direct text from Anisa.
Anisa's
I have
never
a group
texted
chat
you.
with my wife and Anisa. There's a group chat.
Your wife
I do not have any direct
I'm so sorry.
contact.
Okay. Did anyone ever text you and your wife? What was the last thing Anisa sent you and your wife to you and your wife's phone? What was the last thing?
Tense moments in the Twitter space as Froggy goes to see.
It's, hey, Tyler, I'm not with Ian. I'm home visiting family. Ian called me not feeling great, and I'm just trying to understand what's happening or how I can help.
What's the date?
Sunday, March 12th.
You didn't want to respond to that?
No, because you don't know the context of that. You don't have the context. Harley, let me give you the context.
Burn her Twitter account instead of responding to that very serious and
Harley,
sympathetic text that was nowhere near threatening or aggressive.
It is funny to look back at this exchange with Harley trying his damnedest to give cover and clarification for Ian and Anisa's sake, because damned as they do, when this post would further confuse Froggy. If Anisa is saying that Ian is out sick, that is giving Froggy the impression that he addressed any potential grievances Ian has with him to him, given that Ian already posted the other text exchanges he shared with Froggy. And I also imagine that with being told that Ian was out sick, that Harley figured he'd wait a few days or a week for him to recover, which, if that DM was only 2 weeks before him getting kicked, would naturally coincide in him assuming it had to do with the joke he made at Anisa's OF and his spates with her mother.
Froggy wasn't able to give context for why he didn't respond to Anisa's call and text message in the Twitter space. Harley ended up leaving, the conversation went elsewhere. So he uploaded a Twitter video to explain the context for why he didn't respond to Anisa.
Anisa's last text, which was checking on me. Anisa's concern text of hope everything's going okay was a way for her to try to manipulate the situation, to try to do further investigation into my friendship with Sam Hyde. That was not an "Are you okay?" text. That was a Ian is not able to break your shell. Maybe a vague, concerned, manipulative text from me will be able to.
He thinks this text message is manipulation. No, Froggy, we wanted to solve the problem.
With everything else that Froggy has posted, yeah, I'm with him here, that it further confuses me if Anisa is the one I go to, but then it's Ian, but it's neither when convenient. or that any issues regarding the event are anything to do with association with Sam Hyde or not, if Nathan Barnett was the other reason you kicked him.
Let me just say, Anisa is just trying to exist. You know, she doesn't want anything to do with the drama. She doesn't want anything to do with this shit. And I have brought a lot of it into her life. And I take responsibility for that.
Oh boy, here I go cucking myself again. But seriously, Ian, do you not think Anisa was in some part wanting to get in on the drama, especially trying to post vague threats at Froggy regarding suing him or sharing the same hysteria regarding Sam Hyde? Is she not remotely accountable for anything, or is trying to exist your way to give her an out on her own behavior?
But unfortunately, a lot of people who think that I've changed or call me a cuck or whatever, they've decided, instead of saying that I've changed and that I'm the decider of my future, it's that Anisa has changed me.
I mean, a lot of people have said that you've changed and that Anisa had nothing to do with it. There's people like me that have some reason to believe that Anisa has changed you, and the people who outright believe every aspect of yourself has been changed to appease Anisa. Furthermore, do you insist that when people criticize the way Anisa behaves, that is their roundabout way to get at you? I mean, she isn't a fucking bed of roses with or without you.
So she has been the target of a lot of hate. And I think it's really shitty, and hearing Tyler talk about her in this way is just a reminder where it's like, Anisa's trying to manipulate you? What the fuck was I doing?
Ian, Froggy had every reason to believe that because prior he had text conversations with you, and now you're insisting that Anisa handles internal affairs regarding Creator Clash, that has nothing to do with how other people assume you've changed because of her.
Was I trying to manipulate you as well? Like, you should probably come out and say that because it seems really fucking sexist and creepy.
And there's the rub. Saying one woman is manipulating you because of prior exchanges makes you a sexist, apparently. And yeah, I imagine Froggy has every reason to believe that. You also were manipulating the situation, especially in regards to you manipulating the Twitter space exchanges to justify kicking him prior to those exchanges even happening.
You know what I feel? I'm gonna be honest with you, and I really didn't buy none of this at the beginning until I was living in it. I kept always hearing people saying like, Anisa ruined Idubbbz, Anisa ruined Idubbbz. And I was always like, nah, whatever, like they can work out their problems. And I was never buying into that bullshit. But I swear to God, when like once you live an event, it's like, okay, I think Ian met the wrong person. I honestly think it's just like, I think sometimes you bond with the wrong person, it can take you to make the wrong decisions maybe. When I met my wife, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I met my wife, I got better the more time I spent with her because she like was honestly a better person than me. But I feel like, dude, honestly, it seemed like, so when Ian, as soon as he starts messing with Anisa, it's like, Ian goes from the person who would be dogging people, who would sue people, to then like his event that he's running is suing people. It's like a complete flip.
By the way, we weren't suing Froggy. We have no interest in going to court over $15,000. We wanted that $15,000 back, but, you know, he wasn't giving it to us. So we have to leave it at that.
Holy shit. What a fucking stretch of one's imagination. Yeah, we were going to sue him, but we did threaten legal action against him if he didn't cough up the money we gave as a purse for his training. The only reason you left it at that was because you had no buying power to sue legal action against him because that money you gave him was for his training, which, as far as what Froggy has provided, interesting how you and Anisa are loath to provide receipts, was all put into the event and into charity.
Froggy, if you're let back on, it's not like you're gonna make another OnlyFans joke about Anisa, right? Like,
no, I mean, like, if they make me sign a contract that I can't, then I won't.
You know, I find it so strange because it's like, you know,
that was a joke. That was a joke. Obviously, I wouldn't do any more OnlyFans.
I don't think Froggy respects sex workers. I think he has some really old, tired opinions about people who do sex work. I think he has a lot of weird opinions as well about masculinity and shit.
So, which is it, Ian? Froggy hates women and hates sex workers when both are diametrically opposed to one another? And I don't mean to dog on the concept that women can make money by selling their bodies, but do you think that in any way is treating women with any kind of dignity or respect?
Ian's masculinity had been completely removed via Anisa.
A lot of it's not explicitly said, but when you listen to the jokes, it's like, oh, that's actually just your opinion phrased in a comedic way.
So we once again used the Brandon Buckingham interview, an interview that happened 9 days after the event went live, to joke police at FF about Anisa. Ian, you can't fucking win here. You already stated a few years ago, remember, the era in which you changed, that it's fine for people to poke fun at Anisa having an OnlyFans. And can you imagine that? Mr. Crippling Depression and I'm gay dude is joke policing now. How far you've fallen.
There was some type of nerd fight last year, and Chris Raygun and all these people, it's like some big ethos worshiping party at these things. And I don't get it. I don't get what all this shit is all about. But everybody's there to worship ethos or fucking ethos or like touching ethos, titty or pussy. It's always that. And it's just like, what happens is people get all excited about it. And I think Chris Raygun was like, he probably thought he was going to go there and beat some fucking nerd up and he was going to win. Like, I don't know if they're giving, I think they give away like OnlyFans girls there at these events. I don't know what kind of sponsorships going on. Like, if you win certain fights, I think you get to own some of these girls for some of the nights.
Awesome.
I don't know how it works, but I think Chris was like he had plans to go beat up a nerd and however they get to like lease one of these girls. And so like he got there. Well, Ian was probably thinking like, because I think man, I need to just stop all this probably.
No, Froggy, keep going. I think you should keep going. I think the women of the world need to hear your opinions on these things.
Well, hey Ian, apparently Froggy has some backwards opinions about OnlyFans, so wouldn't it be empowering to have OF girls be offered at Creator Clash? Or is that too disrespectful for women's tastes? Or is it disrespectful to assume that women would have been disgusted by this display? You can't have it both fucking ways, something that I'm afraid I keep having to remind people on this platform too often to count.
Talk more about how sex workers are property. That's a funny joke. It was super funny the third time that you referred to women as property. That was the funniest one. Because when you said lease, I was like, yeah, I know what a lease is.
I mean, the other person on that podcast certainly thought it was funny, because maybe Froggy was being just a bit hyperbolical in saying that the event hands out women like entrees, but moreover, sex work isn't exactly viewed in a good light, so again, not sure why you're browbeating someone condemning that, but also condemning him on making fun of one woman.
Even if you didn't do any of the Sam Hyde stuff, why would we want you at our event? Like, if you're just gonna blatantly disrespect sex workers and women and other fighters, saying that they're here to touch ethos, like, it is so disrespectful and shitty. I don't want to share the space with you.
Well, pack it up, boys. The card's off the table. Apparently, making fun of OnlyFans in any regard is now not permissible, according to Ian, especially if you make fun of it in regards to your event likely after you got kicked and after said event even happened. Again, I've yet to find when this particular clip happened, but seeing as Froggy's feelings on Creator Clash soured even in the March 28th Twitter space with Keemstar, it's very likely this also took place after getting kicked.
I don't want other people to be uncomfortable because you're there. Like, you don't get the vibe, all right? The vibe is sex workers and fighting, I guess. And you don't like the sex workers part.
Ian, do you think it was uncomfortable for the fighters being a part of this event, that the person helming this event can't let fucking Sam Hyde go? Do you think it was uncomfortable for the fighters to be put on blast because you and Anisa refused to elaborate in any capacity until after the event happened? Do you think it was uncomfortable for Chris Raygun to fight someone way out of his league because of said pettiness? Taking what Froggy says after the fact and trying to frame him as some saboteur of your event, when only you and Anisa have ever publicly displayed your avarice towards him and Sam Hyde, is peak cope.
I don't think Froggy is doing Sam Hyde's dirty work by, shit-talking Anisa. I think it's just pretty clear that he holds similar opinions to Sam Hyde and similar opinions to Sam Hyde fans.
Yeah, like when Froggy previously didn't believe that Anisa changed Ian, but only came around to that thought after he got kicked out of the card for reasons he can only assume had to do with having space with Anisa's mom and making fun of her OnlyFans by saying he'd subscribe to it if he lost. Which is all the more funny that Ian is going to act like he's content about her having one if someone even suggesting they subscribe to it as a bet is a cuff too far.
Which is like, you're just gonna repeat the shit that your hero is saying.
You have to ditch Yoko Ono.
Drop Yoko Ono, bro. It's gotta be over. It's gotta be over.
And leave the girl. Ditch the girl.
I think Ian met the wrong person. I honestly think it's just like, I think sometimes you bond with the wrong person, it can take you to make the wrong decisions.
She's probably a succubus that's like sucking the life out of him.
Sad to see you didn't make the card again. When will Idubbbz break free from that succubus that is holding him back?
Ian's masculinity had been completely removed via Anisa. Anisa's concern text of hope everything's going okay was a way for her to try to manipulate the situation.
I think initially you can just buy that.
Yeah.
I'm sending this to Anissa's OnlyFans. It goes directly into charity.
Yeah.
Her anal bead package came out, and it was $100 to look at pictures of her with anal beads.
I think they give away like OnlyFans girls there. Like you get to own some of these girls. They get to like lease one of these girls.
So let's look at the evidence on display here. So we got the same Brendan Buckingham interview that Ian already displayed, just with Sam Hyde instead of Froggy. And to re-jog your memory, said interview happened a whole month after Froggy got kicked. You have Sam Hyde fans making comments about the event as it was happening. You have the other clips of Froggy that Ian belabored the point, but also cut out the part where Froggy mentions he didn't believe that Ian got Yoko Ono'd until how he was treated. So again, all of this, and likely the other Sam Hyde clips with conspicuously no date on them, is Ian making a post hoc rationalization of his reasons when he already stated that it was mainly because of his association with Sam Hyde and of how he dealt with Nathan Barnett.
So Ian really embarrassed himself. And so he didn't want Sam at his event because Ian doesn't want people who are bigger and more talented than him upstaging him. That's what it is.
Tyler is like repeating all of these narratives about how I've changed for the worst. The person responsible for my change in a bad way is Anisa. Anisa is a manipulative person. Oh yeah, that I'm like concerned about getting upstaged by Sam or people who are more talented than me.
I mean, you have changed for the worse, just whether any of that strictly has to do with Anisa's up in the air, although your precipitous decline does fall in line in regards to when you met her. Regardless, you are afraid of getting upstaged by him, because why else would you demand that Froggy postpone or hold back content? Remember, tweets and retweeting is content to Ian regarding Sam Hyde, unless it would take the limelight away from your precious event. Or that your reasons for kicking Sam Hyde off the event prior was his loose justification of him trying to sabotage it, when again, it was all because he had you wrapped around his finger in your shitty documentary of him than the other way around.
Which is insane to me, because I've put on this event twice, me as the main fight, and I've lost both times.
Wow. You once again have to admire the mental gymnastics of that reasoning. How am I ego-driven? It's not like I put myself as the main fight of my own event that I can curtail however I want. I lost twice, don't you know?
That's pretty upstaged. As a side note, Sam Hyde has made it a habit to try to sound like a reasonable person by saying, if Ian and Anisa just asked, I'll stop harassing them.
Yeah, if Ian ever hit me up and was like, hey man, can you leave me alone? I'd stop talking about him. Whatever, I don't care that much.
If you ask me to stop, I'll stop.
Which on its face is already an insane thing to say.
Again, I'm not certain if Sam Hyde is being genuine here, since a lot of things he says you have to take with a grain of salt, but I also know full well that someone talking shit about you on their own platform isn't fucking harassment. If Sam Hyde was blowing up Ian's Twitter, which good luck with that given he's been blocked by all parties involved, or deliberately sending people to harass his Twitter and associates, then you'd have something, but none of what you've shown is any proof of harassment.
If they let Froggy back on the card, I won't tweet at Ian or Anisa ever again. I'll shut up forever. How about that?
I get to bring back someone on the card who doesn't respect me, my wife, other fighters, and in return I have the chance of not being harassed by Sam Hyde? Oh man, how can I refuse that?
Again, You only believe that Froggy is like that after the fact. Don't try to spin this like you already knew that about him when you kicked him, you fucking liar. Also, hey, if Sam Hyde is this compelled to engage in training and boxing, even for an event held by someone he doesn't hold in high regard, I imagine that he likely is also sincere in what he's saying here. But, of course, Ian takes this as a lose-lose, even though how he handled this whole fucking ordeal was lose-lose for him.
Just so we're on the same page in case I have to make a future video, you heard what Sam Hyde said. If he's a respectable guy, he's not going to continue to harass me because he says, by his own admission, he doesn't care that much.
I don't care that much.
This is my request. I would like you to not harass me or my wife or anyone that we're friends with.
Friends with for now until you decide that they haven't blown smoke up your ass enough times, but isn't it funny that Ian has become so deflated that he's taking what Sam Hyde is doing as harassment and wanting him to stop? Well, geez, I guess all those content cops where you were putting a content creator on blast wasn't harassment either, huh? And I mean, if you don't believe that Sam Hyde is sincere, why even make this request in earnest?
Also, harassment encompasses all the little loopholes, all right? You can't just then like refer to me as a goblin and be like, I didn't say his name. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about a goblin. That's not acceptable.
So basically Sam Hyde is fucked because I feel with this you can make any inference he says is being a slight against you. I mean, talk about raw deals that Sam Hyde gave to you. This is the fucking rawest of all. Why would he accept these conditions?
Another thing I want to make clear is that the decision to kick Froggy from the card isn't just for like me and Anisa's comfort. There are a lot of people who don't want anything to do with Sam Hyde who are fighting on our card. There are a lot of people who are our fans who want nothing to do with Sam Hyde.
Okay, and I ask once more, how is Froggy responsible for what Sam Hyde says or does? Why does Froggy, but not Harley, PewDiePie, the YouTubers critical of you, and the fans of Sam Hyde, allowed to attend the fucking event, but Froggy can't participate in it? Excuse me for being doubtful that's the goddamn reason, and isn't just your own paranoia about one man.
So we're trying to protect them, we're trying to protect the environment that we're in, and we want it to be comfortable for everyone.
Okay, I've had it with this bullshit insistence that you're doing it for anyone else's comfort except your own and Anisa's. Even the fighters who tried to run defense on your behalf tried to reason that Froggy violated some non-disclosure agreement or he was having a back and forth with your mother-in-law. None of the fighters got Sam Hyde in the brain quite like you two goobers do. You're protecting your ego. You're protecting what Creator Clash is as a statement to stick it to the likes of doubters like Sam Hyde and others who think you've fallen off from grace. Because if it was about protecting the environment you've cultivated, you would have come out with a public statement sooner, you would have just cut the fight between Chris Ray Gun and Froggy entirely, and you wouldn't have made this video using statements from Froggy after he was kicked to justify your kicking of him. This is little more than your already shambling ego getting its licks.
I truly believe if we had Froggy participate through the rest of the event, it would have made the event worse.
How? How exactly? This is the same nonsense reason you gave for kicking Sam Hyde from the event when it would make absolutely no sense for him to throw his own money in the dumpster just to sabotage your event. But here it's even more ludicrous, because based on nothing short of associating with Sam Hyde, do you believe that Froggy has the same mindset of doing so? And if he really wanted to derail the event, why in the ever-living fuck was Froggy vehemently upset about being kicked from said event? Wouldn't he be more grateful that he didn't have to participate in what he calls a e-thought event?
Because we are all trying to work together to make the show as good as possible. And I think if Froggy doesn't fuck with what we got going on, he was going to make it difficult.
Oh, don't worry. Froggy didn't even have to lift a finger to ruin one of the fights by your own hand, because I'm sure when the metaphorical David had to fight the metaphorical Goliath that it was for to make the show as good as possible. And beyond your prior scrapes of Sam Hyde, which at this point seemed to confuse Froggy as him, and Froggy driving a wedge with Nathan Barnett, you got nothing to prove he'd make things worse. And the last of this sour expose on Froggy, while making Ian look just as burned as ever from how Sam Hyde embarrassed him, is just him praising Creator Clash and trying to protect its integrity from bad actors. Who those bad actors are or how he comes to that conclusion that they are, well, that's for his neuroticism to decide. The last clip that he shows is another Buckingham interview with Rusty Cage, who is annoyed that Anisa would insist she apologize to him for posting a tweet of an image of someone bringing a Froggy did nothing wrong poster to the event, followed by what Froggy said earlier about Ian's masculinity being removed via Anisa, which, if Ian's point was to dispel that notion with this clip, he didn't, and showed that Anisa was wearing the strap-on tonight when it came to that entire event. But all the more ludicrous is that instead of getting upset at the person who brought said poster to the event, that she gets at Rusty Cage for posting the image of it, which again just goes to show that this was protecting the fragility of their respective egos and not of anything else. Which is all that I have to say about this putrid clarification of anything regarding why Ian kicked Froggy from the card. All in all, I don't have any particular bias towards Froggy or Sam Hyde in any regard, as I know little of their respective careers up to this point. The reason that I'm so passionately dismayed at Ian's behavior is because I do know where he's come from to disgrace himself this way, that he let a petty squabble against someone completely derail the energy of his event, all the while believing doing just that wouldn't. It's a sad state of affairs to see my own hero, as Ian put it so elegantly, gaslight, manipulate, and grandstand over other people who he used to look up to as inspiration for how he even got in the position to do the things he's doing now, including the Creator Clash event. In closing, don't meet your heroes, kids.